Welcome, Carm Capriotto, the Service Aftermarkets podcast pioneer with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and remarkableresults.biz or on my YouTube channel.
Hi everyone, it's Tracy Capriotto. We are here at BFS in Buffalo, New York. We are going to be doing a safety inspection demonstration. I am here with Tom Herrmann. Hi Tom, how are you?
Good morning, Tracy. How are you?
I am good. Tom is with Small Business Safety and Compliance
Company.
Yep. I got it. So
Awesome.
What are we going to be doing today, Tom?
Today we're going to do a mock OSHA inspection. We're going to take our checklist that we've developed over a number of years. We're going to walk through the building and ensure that everything that would be safe is safe. So we're going to look for things like exit signs, and we're going to check the eyewash, we're going to check the path to the exits, those kind of things. And we're going to use our checklist to document everything and provide that to the owner. So if there are any what we call flagged items or issues that are discovered, we'll be able to report that to the owner. He can go back and correct those.
Now, how often should a safety inspection be occurring
Well,
with the
there's
shop?
two choices. What we recommend and what should be done is a monthly inspection, a mini version of what we're doing, which is a one-page document checking the things we check at real quick, extension cords, the exit signs, and acetylene tanks, those kind of things. But a full-scale safety and mock inspection, we try to do those twice a year for our clients.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's get to it.
Great, looking forward to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk around the building and do a visual inspection of everything and answering the questions on our checklist.
Okay.
And these questions have been developed using the 29 CFR 1910, the general industry standards from OSHA. Okay. One of the things we first see here is fire extinguisher. And our question says, are extinguishers readily accessible, mounted, identified with signs, and inspected every 30 days? So as a reminder, a number of things we're going to find today we have put in place. This is not actually happening. We put these in place for demonstration purposes so the folks who watch the podcast can take this information and go out and look at their facility and do a similar inspection.
Great.
Okay? So the first one we look at is the sign above it.
Okay.
Very good, and it actually has two, which is great. So if you're looking around the shop, you can see that nice and high. We're going to make sure that the tag is on it. This is called a pin lock. We're going to make sure this lock is in place for the pin. So if we pick up the unit, it doesn't squirt our shoes. We don't want to do that because we want to make sure it's able to use. So the unit's in good shape. We check the bell housing, nothing inside, no dents or damages, and we're going to check the back. And you'll note there are 12 blocks on here that say date and buy. So today's date is May 16th. I'm going to take out my pen. This is ABC Dry Chemical. It was inspected of August of 23, so it's due August of 24. So every 30 days, here's October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. We're going to do 5/16, and my initials are TJH. Every 30 days, you can document that to make sure everything's in good, including fully charged. You want to make sure that little yellow needle is in the green. Overcharged and undercharged are both bad. And again, when we talk about extinguishers, we have a couple options. We have a good evacuation plan. You don't need these extinguishers for OSHA, but if you have the extinguishers, we need to train people. We recommend that once a year to do a training on extinguisher use. For
Yes.
small fires, anything that's above and beyond, always evacuate and call the fire department. The first thing you do. But these are here for their use. Make sure everything's in good shape, and we'll check those throughout the building.
How long does this fire extinguisher, how long will it last?
It depends on the size, again, and what happens here a lot of times is, think of this like a box of cereal or a bag of chips. Over time, you open that bag of chips, it's half empty, you're like, wait, where's all my chips? This powder will settle to the bottom.
Okay.
If you're a super nerd like me, every 6 months you'll take it off, flip it over, and give it a quick hit, and the powder that's been condensed at the bottom will kind of back up to the top again and expand, giving you the full time frame for use in the powder.
And you had mentioned having training on a fire extinguisher. I think that is something that is often lost I don't know if I've ever used a fire extinguisher, and it's that muscle memory. So in case there was a fire at my house or in a business, going through the actual motion of using a fire extinguisher, I think can be really helpful for when you're in that emergency situation.
Yes. And an important thing to remember too is a lot of what we talk about today is not just about the business. You bring up a great point. Having an extinguisher home in the kitchen or the garage is a great idea, but you got to check it, you got to be used to it. I always recommend reaching out to your local fire company, asking them for some training or some help in that department. If you're a small business owner, reach out to that local company. Many times as a volunteer, but you have to have an invite to them, come in and see your shop.
Okay. It is good to have a relationship with your local fire department, so they are used to your building.
Many times These are our neighbors, relatives, friends of ours who are volunteers in this local community. We want to make sure that when they get here, they know where all the hot spots are. Having an extinguisher here, they're not going to use yours. They're going to bring their own.
Okay.
They're going to reflect ours. The idea is to get out of the building and call the fire department from outside and then count heads. Make sure all the folks in the building, let's not forget the carts people, the customers, those people, the vendors who may be in the building, everybody out and count heads. That's the most important thing. We want to determine it's just a firefighting versus a search and rescue. We don't want search and rescue, we want just firefighting. Very important. And the same is true at home. Again, we go back to the home situation. You got children at home, where are you going when there's a fire? Where do the kids need to go? The neighbors next door, the neighbors on either side of the house, where are you going to meet? Count the heads.
Yep.
Very important.
Right.
Okay. So I documented that on my report. Again, we put this in place to show you what not to do. That's documented so when the owner gets the report, he'll know to go back and have this done.
Okay.
Okay. And as we move along, Eyewash Station. So this is an ANSI standard, and this is the old version of an eyewash. This does not meet the standard anymore. So we look at the 358 is the ANSI standard. I'll go up to that section here in first aid in my checklist, and I'll document this does not meet the requirement and have him get a new one. Okay, so when I say no to the eyewash, I'm going to take a quick picture of that for our guy.
Okay. So you can take pictures and...
Yes, this is a great app. Safety Culture out of Australia. So the standard calls for 1 hand, 1 second operation, 10 seconds or 55 feet of travel time. So the problem here is 2 hands.
To turn on the water?
You gotta turn the water on and pull this little button, which is the wrong place anyways. So the eyewash comes out and it gets both eyes. You would take your hands physically and open your eyes to let that eyewash get in. And it's a 15-minute continuous flow of water. So for 15 minutes, you should be flushing those eyes out. And if you look at most of the safety data sheets now, they will reference the 15 minutes. So we look at this, we can't do that, what the standard calls for. This is a great location. Signage is good the whole bit, but you need to have a plumbed in unit, which is similar to this. With OSHA, a lot of times it's not what OSHA recommends, but they will reference a standard like the American National Standards Institute, ANSI. Eyeglasses are a big one. Lift safety, another one. So safety glasses have to meet the standard for ANSI.
Okay. Should I have safety glasses while I'm in the shop?
Never a bad idea, Tracy, but what happens first is you do a personal protective equipment hazard evaluation. We are not doing anything that's hazardous right now, and we're avoiding anywhere that there's any work going on, purposely for this example, but always it's up to the shop owner to do a hazard assessment and determine when glasses are required, or any type of PPE. So in our case, we're avoiding all those, so we don't really need them.
Okay.
Never a bad idea, though. You can always go above and beyond.
Okay.
So the next thing we come across, I see, Tracy, is electrical panel boxes. And you'll note on the panel box, he has a great sign. A warning sign indicating that there needs to be 36 inches of clear space.
Okay.
And that's important because if there's something going on, we need to turn it off. I don't have to walk across something, step over something, step around something to get to the box. So in this case, I can walk right up, push the button, open the box, and turn off a breaker. There's electrical hazard going on. And you'll note on the side, if you can see it, they're all identified per the code as well. So every breaker is identified what it does. So again, things like chairs, not a big deal, but again, the sign is a great reminder to keep everything out of this area. A lot of folks will take some paint and mark a box in yellow.
Okay.
Or they'll stripe it, and nothing goes in the area of that box area. So what we always do in inspection is we open the door, couple things, make sure it's there, make sure all the breakers are there, and if there's not a breaker, we have a blank in place. So there's no openings in the panel box, so we can get hurt by. So that's okay, we're good to go there.
Now, if he didn't have a sign on it, would it not pass inspection?
No, I don't believe the sign's required, but it's a great idea. When you look at the OSHA standards, the important thing to note is it's the least allowable by law. You can always go above and beyond, like your eyeglass question, which is a great one. You can always do more. That's what, again, the box is another great idea. It does more. A visual reminder to employees, don't set things in front of the box.
Well, when it comes to safety, I feel like you should take it to the maximum level.
Absolutely.
Full send on safety.
Yep. Absolutely. So if again, we'll check every panel box and note again, all the breakers are in place, the blanks are in place, and it is documented what each of them does.
Nice.
Same with over here. So we're good there. So I can check those. I'll check that box a yes on our checklist. We'll go to the last one. Everything's documented, everything's in place. And again, we'll note that that's an issue, but again, nothing in front of the box. That's what we're looking for, which is great. So as we walk along there, we're looking for things that just don't make sense or seem out of place. It's just kind of a lot of it's really common sense. And again, if you're a shop owner, every 30 days, this mini version of this should be performed. So, and we're not covering every single thing in our walkthrough, but to do as much as we can. So we have a bench grinder here, another standard. So mounted to the bench, okay. Work rest, 1/8 inch from the wheel. You'll see this is more than 1/8 inch from the wheel. So this would be in violation of the code. And this is called a spark arrestor or a tongue guard. This is a 1/4 inch from the wheel. So if the wheel spins, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, and a big piece of folklore is that these are required. They're not. PPE is required. Safety glasses, face shield, goggles, something of that for the employee to wear. Again, above and beyond, great, but a lot of people want to say these are required and replace them. Always a good idea, but not required by the standard.
Okay.
So we'll document this on a report. And this is a simple adjustment. So a wrench over here, push this in 1/8 inch, and that's so that if you're using a tool, it can't get caught in the wheel and shatter.
Oh, okay.
Same with this tongue guard, 1/4 inch. If the wheel should shatter, this is just glue. All those pieces are going to get caught by this guard instead of coming in and hitting you in the stomach. It's 3,000 or more RPM. It's going very fast. You don't want that to hit you, so that needs to be in place. So we'll take
So this would need to be adjusted.
Yep. Well, actually, there's 2 bolts on the side, and there's one to adjust the actual work rest. That's so you lay your tool on it like this to do your grinding.
Now, what if you adjust this and it complies, and then someone at the shop has to readjust it? Then it wouldn't. Then
Different tool would be used for that instance, and we would want to remind all the employees that'd be a good coaching moment that the guards need to be in place at the proper measurements.
Okay.
Again, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, and then mounted, securely mounted too, so it can't walk, and you don't want to be getting hurt by that. And then we'd also check the cord to make sure it's grounded. If it's grounded, which it should be, the 3-prong, all of them are in place.
And as a reminder, we did bug this a little.
Yeah, we always
bugged
do,
a
yeah.
little demo.
Yeah. Actually, our shop owner is very good about compliance, so we had to go through the shop a little bit and make some things up, if you would. Just for them, again, the idea is we want people to learn, and a lot of people are visual learners. If they see
Right.
it makes a difference. So on our report, if you'll notice, this is right from the OSHA Code of Federal Regulations on machine guarding. So it tells you the distances, and if you also note here on the right, eye shield optional. And if you look, there's a reference here. So when I send this checklist back to our building owner, he can actually, if he has a question, or she, tap on that link and it'll take them right to that section on the OSHA regulations. Yeah, kind of a referencey point. So we'll check that, it's all good. And then one final point on the eye grinder is, that there was a sign above that said reminding employees to wear their eye protection as they're using the grinder, which is great. Okay, so as I noticed a cord here, so we'll take a quick look at the cord. Any cuts or damage, tears, whatever. Also that the end is completely covered. So we're looking at this. If you look here, there's a minor tear.
Oh, okay.
So we have exposed wiring on the cord. Couple options. We can throw the cord away, buy a new cord, or we could actually make a repair, cut this off, buy a UL approved end, and rewire it. Okay, again, we want to make sure it's the same gauge wire and this 3-prong outlet, ground outlet. So we will note this on our report for our owner.
If this was missing one of the prongs, that would not be compliance, right?
Very often, great question. Very often you'll find this.
Yeah.
The ground is very small. Occasionally, I'll find those actually in the outlet still. So I'll have to turn the power off, take it right out with a pair of pliers and notify that. But again, this is a great thing to be done on a monthly checklist. Also, when you look at the OSHA regulations, it's not all about the employer. This is an employee thing in my mind. An employee would have noticed this and should have brought this to the attention of their supervisor, the shop owner, whoever, to say, look, I've got a bad cord. I have never in my 30+ years had someone say, oh, I'm sorry, Tracy, I can't get your cord. You always get a cord, or you ask to replace it. If you're skilled and knowledgeable how to do that properly, you can do that as well. But I've never had someone say, no, I'm not giving you one because it's damaged. So Tracy, one of the great things about having someone like me come in is I will actually take the owner around the building.
Okay.
In addition to showing him the report and emailing it to him, I'll take this home today and I'll add my note to my notes. So it's a little more comprehensive, but I'll actually walk him around and say, this is the cord I'm talking about.
Okay.
Another reinforcement of what, and also it kind of reminds him what I'm looking at. Okay?
And
no one's perfect. I mean, we do the best we can.
I liked how you said that if an employee saw that cord, it should be their responsibility to bring that to attention. So it is important to not only educate the shop owner, but also the employees about safety and what things to notice and to bring to attention.
Absolutely, great point. There's ownership on both sides.
Right.
You know, and the same thing at home. You wouldn't have that at home. Yep. So here we have a couple of floor jacks, and I'm going to roll it out. And what I'm looking for here is the capacity. I don't see it readily. So I'll make a note under machine section of my report that I did not clearly see or easily see that the capacity, every jack and jack stand has to have its capacity legibly marked on the unit.
Oh, how much weight?
Yep. Because think about it, we talk a lot about in our meetings about having young people come into our business. They want to make sure that if they're picking up a 3-ton vehicle, they have a 3-ton or larger capacity jack. We don't want to take a 1-ton jack out for a 3-ton vehicle.
Okay.
Unsafe. Same with the jack stands. All should be labeled. If you look at this one, pretty easy, 3-ton. So it's all documented. So if I'm a young person or if I'm a mentor, I can remind them, hey, make sure you got the right tool for the job. So
would this need a new sticker?
Yep.
Then, okay.
We want to label it. Oh, good. I might just clean it up or check the sides. Again, very visual. We're looking for easy visuals. So we'll document that. A couple of things I always do too is when I'm done, I try to put things back where I found them, where the guys used to. So what you notice here is they have a ground fault circuit interrupter like you'd have at home. Bathroom, kitchen, laundry area. And that has the test and reset buttons on it. So what we would do is, again, I'm not doing it today because there are items plugged into it, but we would test and reset that. And to do that a lot of times, I will take this device.
Oh.
Circuit tester. So what I'll do is actually plug this in, and you'll notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ways it can light up. 1 is good and 4 are bad. So we'll plug it in real quick. We're looking for this to show that we have 2 orange lights. That means the circuit is properly wired.
Okay.
And I don't do this every single time, but I will randomly check a circuit to make sure it's properly wired. And probably out of every 4 inspections, I'll find one that is improperly wired, and I'll bring that to the attention of the building owner. This also has a button to actually, you can depress this, it will actually trip the circuit. Oh. And the idea is here, if you like at your home and bathroom, again, situation, or kitchen, a lot of wet areas, anywhere there's water nearby, a ground fault will protect you from being electrocuted. It measures electric on both sides, and it shut it off in 1/40th of a second. So
wow.
you get a small tinkle, but not really a big thing. So periodically we'll use this to test a circuit.
The NAPA Now event is a national ownership workshop for our valued AutoCare members centered around business building training from industry leaders. Now, it's not just about owning a shop, it's about owning your future. Join NAPA April 15th through the 17th, 2025 at the Venetian Resort in the heart of Las Vegas, known for its vibrancy, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit. At the event, ignite growth through business building masterclasses from leaders across multiple industries focused on expanding business opportunities. Now, masterclass topics include future-proofing your business, mastering emerging technologies for growth, leadership dynamics, inspiring, engaging, and driving success, shifting tides, understanding evolving consumer behaviors and your bottom line, and young leaders' lasting legacies, mastering succession planning for future growth. Foster collaboration with other like-minded NAPA AutoCare members and store owners. Stop at supplier studios for training, visit AutoCare vendor partners, and finally, join us in celebrating 100 years of NAPA Auto Parts, along with kicking off the next 100 years of partnership. There will also be exclusive giveaways. There are many incentive opportunities to offset the cost of this trip, including AutoCare program earnbacks, and beginning in October, earn up to $1,500 with pre-show supplier training to prepare for the supplier studio training sessions. The NAPA Now event is a national ownership workshop for our valued AutoCare members centered around business building training from industry leaders. Now, it's not just about owning a shop, it's about owning your future. Join NAPA April 15th through the 17th, 2025 at the Venetian Resort in the heart of Las Vegas, known for its vibrancy, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit. Get ready to grow, connect, and celebrate. This is an exclusive event limited to the first 2,000 AutoCare members. Packages are going fast. If you're interested in attending, contact your servicing NAPA store or NAPA salesperson.
Another one, we moved this box down a little bit to block the extinguisher. Same thing, so we want to make sure all those extinguishers are accessible. You see all the items in front of the extinguisher, we put in place there to let this be a good example of what not to do.
So you would want this cleared out?
We want to get, we kind of use the same 3-foot of clear space we use. I use it a lot of ways. Doors. If you have a doorway leaving the building, you'd like, if the door is 3 foot wide, 3 foot of clear space to the door. So if you have to evacuate an emergency, you can get right out. We're not stepping over the broom or the garden hose, whatever. Same thing, if you have people who are trained to use extinguishers, a lot of folks use the PASS system. I think your dad mentioned earlier. PASS, pull the pin, aim the extinguisher, squeeze the handle, and sweep the base of the fire.
Okay.
That's kind of the basic of your annual extinguisher training. So I see another, so now I see only 2, but this is a grounded tool. This is made by Rigid to be this way. It is already grounded. So the 2 prongs are there. We're in good shape, and the cord is in good shape, including the end. Nothing to worry about, no damage, we're good to go. Same with this situation. A grounded vacuum. So we have a good cord, no damage, we'll move on right along.
So checking the cords is a very easy visual tool to do, but it's very important because would you say a lot of fires come from electrical
Sure, electrical,
issues?
and also your employee injury, electrical issue. We want to make sure, especially if there's any water around, that water gets on the cord. We want to make sure, and again, these are simple things to do. A walk around in a building like this would take 30, 35 minutes a month. Very inexpensive way to keep your folks safe, keep your equipment in good shape, and avoid any hazards, injuries.
Okay.
So the mobile lifts would be a more in-depth inspection. We're not going to go that. We're going to look on these real quickly though to make sure they've been inspected every year by a qualified technician, lift servicing technician, not an automotive technician, but a lift servicing technician, someone who's been trained by the Automotive Lift Institute out of Cortland, New York, to provide a competent inspection on that lift. In this case, all the mobile lifts. And we look for a label on that, make sure they're all there. Label's on this one, so he's got it right here.
Oh, okay.
January 18, 2025. Great visual.
And so that's when the inspection will have to occur again.
ANSI standard again on all your lift, 12-month annual inspection.
Okay.
So it's great to have a nice visual. It's right there for everybody. Okay, so here we have a portable fan. It's a little bit of a warmer day today. We want to make sure a couple things. We're checking the cord again. I see the fan is fully covered and it's less than a ½ inch, so I can't put my fingers in and get my fingers cut if I grab it by mistake. So the stable base is there. In this case, I can look at the cord real quick. Here's one that's been replaced. And if I look down, I can see right, if you look right there, you can see the ground.
Okay.
So we're in good shape. And the extension cord, good for 90 days use, temporary use. That's another National Electric Code standard. So we're gonna look at 90 days or less.
What do you mean 90 days or less?
Extension cords. If you need to run an appliance using an extension cord, you can do it for 90 days. Christmas lights, Halloween lights, temporary lighting, a fan, air conditioner, those kind of things, as long as it's rated for that. But after 90 days, you really need to have it wired permanently, a box put in place so you can plug it directly in using the existing cord.
Okay.
So, a lot of folks want to use an extension cord. They'll run a long cord to do something. You really should run a new box for that area to make sure you can plug that appliance into it directly.
Okay.
Okay. So there's a battery charger over here. No smoking sticker on top, perfect. Now we're in an area there's no smoking allowed in any building, but that's a nice reminder. And if I notice I see the cord on the floor, looks in good shape. Quick pick up and look. Cord end is good, and I also check the back of the machine. I'll note this because it's not, that little grommet is not in place. So take a quick picture of that under our electrical section. So I'll say no here. I'll take a photograph of that for our owner. The nice thing about this app is I can do this. You know what a little edit pencil here?
Oh, nice.
I'll do that. I'm going to put in here, I'm going to go with an arrow. That makes the most sense, I think. I'm going to just put a little arrow in.
Nice.
And I'll save that. Save that. So now in my question, I asked about electrical appliances and outlets. I said no, and I'm going to have that photograph there. It'll show them right where the problem is.
Okay. And this kind of looks like a DVI you're sending the shop owner.
Yes, this is, if I were to print this out, it would be 66 pages long. So we don't print anymore, thank goodness for electronics now. I will email this, and the nice thing about this is many of the owners want a to-do list. They don't want all 66 pages. So in my case, all the folks I work with are on the flagged items only report from me.
A filter, yep.
I filter everything out so they get the question, the red no, the note, and the photograph or video, whatever it might be, or the action item. So now they've got a good to-do list.
Yep.
They can go right down the list and check everything off that I've identified as a flagged item. That's what we call them. Used to be called failed items. Now we're a little softer, a little kinder. It's a flagged item. So this will be a flagged item. This is a great one, mobile ladders.
Okay.
So in mobile ladders, a couple things are important. One is, see the rubber feet at the bottom down here? We want to make sure they're in place. These rubber pieces, when I engage the ladder to lock it in place, I have a nice base for the rubber on the concrete. It won't skitter across the floor or slide. I don't know if you reach a certain number of stairs, you need to have a handrail, which we have both in good shape here. And I can move the ladder, and once I depress it, that rubber grips the floor again. So if this could be a small 2-step ladder or larger, always ensure you have those rubber tips. A lot of times you can replace them with a rubber crutch tip from a local hardware store or a drugstore, but always have the bottom on so that you're moving the ladder and stepping on it, that grip is there with the rubber on the concrete.
Okay.
It's a great thing. It's on our checklist as well. So I mentioned the capacities labeled. If you'll note right here,
Oh, okay.
9-ton capacity. So again, if you're using one or more of these, I've got 9 tons I can work with there. And it's again in good shape. And as you can see, it's not a lot of time I'm spending, but I'm ensuring a much safer workplace. So here's another example of our grinder. So if you'll note this one now, here's your work rest. How far is that apart, you think?
The correct amount.
The tongue guard again is in a 1/4 inch. And you'll note this is a nice one because it has these slots. So I can take the screwdriver, unloosen these screws as the wheel gets smaller from use. I just slide it right down.
To keep adjusting.
Yeah. And as you mentioned a great point earlier, going above and beyond what OSHA requires, we have our guards. Don't need them, we have them in place though. And again, this wheel can adjust this real quick. I can show you. If we need to adjust it, we can put it in or out, up and down, whatever. So again, I'll make that 1/8 inch and tighten it up, and we're in good shape. Tool can't get caught inside there, hopefully. Another extinguisher, so we brought those cards in again. So I'm gonna go back through.
How many fire extinguishers should a shop have? Is it based on square footage?
Great question. It's based on the hazard. And what we do is, much like OSHA relies on other people for some of the standards they use, the references, we're gonna reference our provider. We're gonna call this company and ask them to bring our extinguishers in, and we wanna meet the code. So whatever, that's their profession. They know, based on this situation, how many and where they should be located are. So great question though. Again, use the resource at your disposal.
Yep.
Have that person do it. Here's a great pair of safety glasses. So what are we looking for? Side shields, okay. Adjustableness, you wanna make sure the employees have something that's comfortable to wear. You can't just say to an employee, hey Carm, here's your glasses. Say, Carm, here are 3 pairs of glasses. Which one fits the best for you? Which is most comfortable? What we're looking for is right here, it's kind of hard to see it. Right there it says Z87, now if you can make that out or not. That's the standard for eyeglasses.
Okay.
Safety glasses. So if you have a pair of glasses without that Z87 or Z87.1, they did not meet the standard. They're not, you don't want to say approved, but they don't meet the standard. Because as an agency, OSHA, under the federal government, does not have the authority to approve anything. A lot of people will come in, or some people should, I should say, come in and say, they have an OSHA approved first aid kit. There's no such thing. You have a kit made by a company that meets the OSHA standard.
Okay.
Okay? So again, safety glasses is Z87, 87.1. And the important part is when you do your assessment, you make sure that the person who's wearing these has a pair that fits comfortably, so they do in fact wear them. So put those back where they were. Yep, look for the Z87. And that's also on our checklist. So as we keep walking along, I see here the lift wiring. I notice everything's in good shape. Everything's tied up and nice and tight. I see the inspection certificate here, 12/28/24, so it's been inspected in the last 12 months by that company. Everything's in good shape here, no leaking, we're good movement. And we check all those lifts each time.
Nice.
So there's about 14 on this shop, I think, or more.
What about this sign up here that says fire extinguisher, but there's not a fire extinguisher?
Yep. So I think that's was relocated. We put that in
Okay.
place. So we're gonna take that one and move it over there above the other one. And also you'll note above the emergency lighting every 30 days as well. So what that is designed, if there's a reason the power goes out in the evening and it's dark in the building, those lights will come on. You'll see they're pointed down to identify any hazards. A floor jack in the way, a tire in the way, get to that nearest exit. And if you look back toward the open door, you'll see the exit light over there with the emergency lights on the side of it. Those will also, power failure, those will light up. In this shop, they're all tied to the same breaker, two-way breaker. And if you snap that breaker off, killing the power, those will come on, so there's your monthly check. Every 30 days, you check those. A lot of times, if they're low enough, you can use a device like this. This is used for smoke detectors, emergency lighting, those kind of things. And it's, if you're old like myself, the old days of car antennas, it just extends out. And I can take and actually push the button to test the light to make sure the battery's working. And again, every 30 days. This has a magnet tip on the end of it if you need it. But it's great if you want to check the smoke detector, it's above your reach, don't need to get a ladder. I can just use this and push it. That's a little above my height though, but most shops are a little lower. So this is a great tool for that.
What else else do you have in your pockets, Tom? Are you going to be pulling out an umbrella or something next?
Mr. Gadget, no. Just one more thing. Voltage detector. But great question. So this one has a little flashlight in it, and also it checks your voltage. So I can go to outlet. So parts washers. Many shops have a parts washer with mineral spirits or solvent. A couple things I want to make sure is this is a lead link. In the event of a fire, this will melt. It will cause the cover to come down, hopefully extinguish the fire. It lessens the oxygen getting the fire in no case. So the standard says keep them closed when not in use. Make sure nothing's in the way that could impede that from closing. If I had this broom in the way, let's say, so it wouldn't close up. Not good. So keep everything out of the way. Ensure the lead leak is good, and then keep it closed.
What are you washing in there?
Many times they'll brake parts perhaps, or other engine parts that have grease or oil on them, need to clean them, see if what the problem is. They'll wash it, they have the brush and the hose where the fluid will come out.
Does this drain, how do you drain this out then?
It has a tank below it, and every once in a while you service it depending on how much you use it. It's kind of difficult to determine the servicing interval, but how much it's used, that's the trouble. But again, keeping it closed, make sure the lead link is there. So cylinders. Many shops have oxygen acetylene tanks. They have spare cylinders. A couple things important. Covers on. You notice the chain, heavy duty chain, preventing them from tipping and falling.
Okay.
Very, very dangerous. If you ever get time, look up Mythbusters tank cylinder on YouTube. If this cover were not on here, real quick, and this valve were gonna get knocked off, this will take off like a missile or torpedo. It'll go right through a brick wall.
Whoa.
Yeah, very dangerous. And a very high fine from OSHA if you're caught doing this. So in this case, it's great. He has them all chained up, secured so like they won't fall. Important, we don't mix oxygen and acetylene. We want to keep them 20 feet apart or a 5-foot non-combustible wall. Okay, keep them secured. Okay, so we talked about emergency lighting before. Here's a classic design of emergency lighting. The red light's on, says should be working. I'm gonna push that button and I see they're on. I usually give it a 4 or 5 second test. And once a year, you should test them for 90 minutes. And what that does is it drains the battery completely and puts it back up again. Kind of cycles through the battery. So again, just a quick check to make sure it's working. On the side, I'm going to push that button, and you note how it went out for a split second. Watch the exit part. Notice how it went out for a split second? That was me turning off the electrical power and make sure the battery, which is on either side of this, kicks on. So this is a combo unit. So now, give it a quick 5 count. I know that the battery is working. So if the power goes out, it's pointed down the hallway and pointed toward the door.
Now you said to cycle through a 90-minute drain.
Once a year.
How would you do that?
Well, I don't do it as a rule, but the trick they tell me is you bring a drywall screw in, depress the button, put this drywall screw there to hold it depressed. Go do your checks, watch your watch, set your timer on your cell phone, 9 minutes, come back and take that, it'll recycle itself.
Okay.
So it's a great question. Again, it goes back to our evacuation plan. If you have 11 or more folks in a building, we have an evacuation plan. We practice the plan. And then I'll cycle back to my discussion earlier with you about home too. You know, you've got kids at home, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles living with you, staying overnight. Where's your meeting place?
Right.
We're going to go to Tom's house or Carm's house. We're not going to cross the street. We're going to go over there. We're not going to call from our house. We're going to call from Tom or Carm's. We're going to bang on the door at 4 in the morning and say, there's a fire at the house. Use the phone next door to call the police, or use our cell phone. Don't call from there. And an important thing is, with the kids, little ones especially, you want to remind them, don't worry about the dog, don't worry about the fish, the cat, whatever. You get out of the house first. We're going to call the fire department, call the professionals to come in and fight the fire. Houses can be replaced. People can't.
Right.
It would be a tragic loss of the animal, but
We got a shop
important for
dog.
you.
Shop doggy. 2 shop doggies. Hi.
So that's it. That's kind of our quick tour of a safety inspection. That's got a mini version. Again, we want to do is, if you go to my website, there's checklists available all through the websites anywhere in town if you do a search. All right, so here in New York, there's a carbon monoxide law. You have to have a carbon monoxide detector. So here's the detector. You see it's 0, and there's a test button. You'll get a beep, 4 beeps and a beep. It's cycling through. You see the lights color changing. 1 more beep. And we're good to go.
Cool.
So again, home, another thing at home. Make sure you have these in home and place anywhere there's a fossil fuel burning device. Furnaces and so on and so forth, okay? Fireplace, gas applied fireplace. have it and check it once it's part of your checklist. Another set of emergency lighting, real quick. Works. I mentioned earlier about this clear space. So here we have a door, 36-inch or larger door. Look, if you notice the space, is that clear? And if I walk out, no step, the door fully open, and there's nothing in my way.
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for giving us this little walkthrough of a safety inspection demonstration. We really hope that the viewers will take this back to their shop to ensure that they have a safe working environment for their employees. So thank you so much for this tour. I learned a lot, and I hope our listeners and viewers learned a lot as well.
Well, Tracy, thank you. It was a pleasure to work with you. And again, safety is a great foundation for workplace. When you go to a shop like this and they have everything in place, it attracts a better caliber of employee. And again, we can remind them that when you ask who's in charge of safety, the answer should be everyone.
Right.
Not just that person who's designated as a safety person. So we all have an ownership in the building safety, making sure those cords are in good shape, the exit lights are working, and there's no trip hazards, those kind of things. It's just better all the way around.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tom.
Thanks, my pleasure.